Hi guys, welcome back to We Should Talk, a pop culture interview series from In the Know. I'm your host, Gibson Johns, and this week on the podcast we have Dorothy Wang from Bling Empire Season 2 on Netflix, which is streaming now. I just binged it over the weekend. It's a great season, and Dorothy is a fantastic addition to the show. She obviously first rose to fame as one of the cast members of Rich Kids of Beverly Hills on E! But that show finished 6 years ago, and so she's a much welcome return to reality TV because she's really good at this. She's a great star, and she just knows how it works. And so I loved picking her brain about how this experience compared to her time on Rich Kids, because a lot has changed in the reality TV landscape since then. So it was great to hear her thoughts on that and sort of what she observed behind the scenes of filming of Bling Empire. And she called it a little bit more like manipulative, a little bit more, crafted and behind the scenes, and about like kind of the long game, which was interesting to hear from her. And then we also just talked about the Kane of it all, her moving to New York, and hypothetically what a show about her life in New York would look like. Obviously in that finale she moves to New York, and it kind of sets it up pretty heavy-handedly for a New York spin-off of Bling Empire, which I would love, because I think Dorothy joined the show and she was sort of just treated as like an addition to the show and not as a central member of the cast. And to me, she's a star, and so she deserves a starring vehicle, and I'm excited to see what that could look like. TMZ reports that it's happening, so I'd love to see that. And so we talked about what that show could look like, and we talked about a bunch of different other things, and it was just a great interview. She hasn't really done a really in-depth interview about her time on Bling Empire, so she had some thoughts. So keep listening for my interview with Dorothy Wang from Bling Empire Season 2. Stream the season on Netflix now, and please rate, review, and subscribe to We Should Talk on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. All right, so we're here with Dorothy Wang from Bling Empire on Netflix. Season 2 is out now, and Dorothy is a very welcome addition to the show. Dorothy, thank you for coming on. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. So I know you said you're in LA now, but you're full-time in New York these days?
Yes, I moved actually at the end of January.
And how has it been so far?
It has been amazing. In the beginning, it was an adjustment. I think just being a very LA girl, there are certain things and different nuances about New York that I had to kind of get used to. But it was exactly what I wanted. I wanted a different life. I wanted to kind of roughen up a little bit. And yeah, now I love it. I kind of made it through the trying times and the adjustment period, and now I just love it. It's like I have a great group of friends there, and I just like the energy of the city. I love how fast paced it is, and just like I don't know, everything everything is just like more exciting there.
It's the best city in the world. It really is. You moved at the height in January, which is the height of winter, which was like, you just went for it.
I did, the weather didn't really bother me. It's really weird. I don't know how I did it. Or I think I've been saying it. I think it's because I'm on a lot of different supplements. Like I just didn't get cold. I literally was wearing my LA clothes. I was just a little bit colder. That's what I kept saying. I'm just wearing my same LA clothes. I was like literally in the snow with my like open toe heels, like toes in the snow, and I felt fine. I think it's all my supplements, just like, and I didn't get sick once or anything. So
there we go.
My
the Dorothy Wang approach to winter.
Supplement lifestyle actually, really did me well in New York too.
Toes in the snow. That has a nice ring to it. I think you're starting something there.
Mm-hmm. There was a
okay.
On my birthday. It was a whole thing.
Love it. Well, Dorothy, I just told you that I finished season 2 yesterday, and it's a great season, and I'm curious. You did a lot of interviews leading up to the season, but I'm curious what are you feeling now that it's been a long weekend with the show out there with your big return to reality TV? What's the response been from your perspective?
I think the response actually has been really good. I was nervous, kind of. No, I don't know if it's nervous. I was anticipating it, I guess. I don't know. It was just because since I've been through it before, I just know how your life changes. I think before Rich Kids, I didn't know what to expect. I knew my life was going to change a little bit. And I'm a very sentimental person. Just when things change, I get sentimental because I'm like, it's never going to be how it is now. And then
right.
My life is great. And in every state of my life is great. So I'm always like, oh, it'll never be how it is now. And so I think before I started filming this, and before it came out, I just knew, my life is going to change. It's never just going to be as peaceful and as easy as it was. And as much as I love being on camera and sharing my stories and filming and having shows out, I also do kind of love the simpler times and the more peaceful times, and just going on hikes with my friends and then going to the market and cooking. Like, it's very weird. Sometimes my friends are like, I love both lifestyles, I
I feel
guess.
like you're on or you're off. It's sort of like you're on or you're off, but like
Yes.
it's hard to, yeah, exactly. There's no
I
in
both.
between.
Like, I'm either all done up or I'm literally in sweats, walking
Yeah.
around and wanting to like cook and just stay home.
Right.
So sometimes I get a little sentimental about things changing. So I think about like with that, and also when you put yourself out there, you naturally just have more eyes on you and more people in your business, and your life just gets more complicated in so many ways. Just, more people are watching and more people are in your business. It just complicates things in your personal life. And I just knew that was going to happen automatically, whether you like it or not. Like, everyone says like, oh, don't mind it. Like, but it's hard. It's hard not to read all the comments and get affected by it.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as you want to say, oh, it doesn't matter, I love intel and information. So it's not even like I'm reading it. I don't know.
It's like a focus group almost. It's like a live, I
literally conduct my own focus group. I love to know information. Like, even when I was even through the different businesses that I would have, I would be so interested to see like where I was shipping to. I'm like, oh, like, where's my fan base? Oh, do a lot of people where, like, which countries and stuff like that. I'm just very interested in information like that. So I would love to see what people are thinking and their viewpoints, and like watch, like, like even like the reaction to this show. Like, sometimes they'll say like, oh, we didn't like that you did this. And then maybe by the end of the episode, they'll tweet again and be like, oh, wait, now we understand why you did this. And I like to watch and just get feedback.
Totally.
So I'm like constantly looking and seeing what people are saying.
So have you found that for this? I mean, it's been 6 years since Rich Kids ended, and that was social media and the way that people interacted with TV was very, it's been 6 years, which is a long time and not that long, but it feels like that kind of landscape has changed a lot. And so I'm curious, like what's been the biggest difference for you this time around in that regard? Because Rich Kids was on E, and then also Bling Empire is on Netflix, which is the reach of Netflix is, you probably can't even comprehend it. So I'm just curious what the differences are there.
I think that it's interesting for me. This is the first time that I've been on a series where the whole series is at once.
Right.
So the good thing is that no one stays mad at you for that long. The whole story is that like in the same breath, they can be mad at you, and then you kind of come back around and they forgive you. Like they can binge watch the whole series at once. So like with Rich Kids, if you have a bad episode, it feels like the whole world hates you
for a week
until you redeem yourself the next week, But with this, it's like they're mad. It all happens really fast. So you come back around really quickly, which is nice.
Yeah, totally.
And I feel like with this, it's interesting where it's like everyone's at a different moment with you at different times. Whereas when you're watching it on cable, everyone's like watching the same thing. So like everyone's at a different part at different times, and everyone can start watching it at different times all the time.
Mm-hmm. So it's almost like the first hit of it must just feel like a whirlwind, and then it's just you're going to probably keep getting hits of it as
and then it trickles in, I think.
Yeah, it totally. So why? It's been 6 years since Rich Kids. Why now? Why Bling Empire? What about? You said that you sort of liked the sort of more low key life that you were living, not having cameras following you all the time, but. Did you have an itch to get back to that? Like, were you like, okay, I kind of want this again?
I do feel like it was always in the back of my mind. Like, I always just felt like I had more to say and more to show and more stories to tell and just, more to put out there. And I do feel like this show almost was like a tailor-made fit for me. I would like I said, I always read the comments, and everyone was always like, why aren't you on the show? Why aren't you on the show? There's a show about wealthy Asians in Los Angeles, and there isn't Dorothy Wang, and everyone was really gung-ho about me joining. I'd love to see you on the show. I'd love to see you on the show. And, when I was approached to do it, that was a real driving factor for me to do it. I just felt like it was what the people wanted.
Right. I mean,
And
that's real. That's a real thing. Yeah. That's,
it really was something that everyone's like, we need you to do this. We really want to see you on this. And I just thought, why not? Let's see what happens. Let's throw me in and like let's have a little fun and see how I mix and mingle, and like let's see what comes out of it.
Mm-hmm. And you told E that this, in comparison to your first go around on those 4 seasons on Rich Kids, this felt a little bit more like there was a behind the scenes kind of like calculated element to it. That's what you said in an interview. I'm curious in what ways did you see that, and how did that manifest itself from your experience?
I think I meant to, like, with Rich Kids, we were all younger and everything like kind of flowed almost more naturally, and we were kind of just young and raw.
Mm-hmm.
And everything. We were all also huge, big personalities that individually, I think we all grew up and everyone was like, you guys are like, you all deserve, like, you should be on a show. You're so interesting. We're all like these hyper over the top personalities that all became friends and came together and all got a show. And we're all like one man walking shows all the time. And I think with this group, everyone is a little bit older, maybe a slightly more subdued, and it's just a different dynamic. And I think that it's not so much about people being like over the top one man shows of entertainment. It's more about their inner workings and how their friendships and how they maneuver with each other. And I do feel like a lot of it, maybe it's like just as you get older, it is almost like how you maneuver in society groups. And it is more planned out and calculated. I did feel that a lot of it has to do with like behind the scenes. Oh, you're going to be friends with this person. Okay, then I'm going to be friends with this person. You're going to say this about this person, and I'm going to do this. It's a lot of chess playing and a lot of how we're going to be portrayed on camera, and a lot of like, and maybe it's because we're older. Maybe also it's because it's now 6 years later. People are more sophisticated about how you are portrayed on TV. Just everything is just more contrived and more calculated and more manipulative.
Yeah. I mean, I think all the things you said there make sense. I think a lot of it probably has to do with the changing landscape of reality TV. You know what I mean? Like you guys were so raw and so just like off the cuff back in the day, you know what I mean? And
we were just young. We would cry and fight and we're drunk and scream and then make up. And it was just, like, yes, maybe we would get mad and think, oh, we're going to get this person back. But it was not a long game.
Right. Yeah. I think long game is a good way to put it for sure. And it seems like, I mean, you joined Bling Empire and you're brought in through Christine, who you seem to hit it off with. You and Jamie also seem to hit it off and have a good relationship. Would you say those are the two people that you kind of felt just like the most natural, genuine connection with in this cast?
Yeah. So I was kind of introduced to everyone through Christine. And Christine is a lot of fun, and she's like, very over the top, and loves to just do a lot of things all the time. And then I met Jamie, and we instantly kind of clicked because we kind of are just kind of more laid back, and we just we're both very honest, and we don't really care about the bullshit. And we don't really care. I think we're both very just secure, and we don't really care to like impress anyone or do the most, or I feel like we have just like kind of a common bond.
You don't have to overcompensate. I don't think either of you have to overcompensate for anything.
Exactly.
And you've also been posting like some outfits we didn't get to see and some moments that kind of got left on the
cutting room floor. You saw my little rant. I was very upset.
Well, I mean, I get it. You guys put a lot of thought into these looks, and if you don't get shown, come on.
The looks and the hours of looks that and then when certain things don't make it, and then you're like, I spent hours on that look, and then like the ones that do make it, you're like, great, I'm in a white t-shirt and a bike short.
At least you got the Instagram photos that they can see the light of day in your realm. But what's like the one thing that you were like, oh, I wish that made it in to the season?
So many things. I mean, there was a lot, I was actually one of also my reservations about joining the show is during that time I was going through a lot of kind of like mysterious health issues. And I didn't feel ready to kind of come back to television. I was having these for the last 3 years before. I was having like crazy allergic reactions and health issues, and I was going to all these. I was a medical mystery basically, and I was tracking it all on Instagram. Some Instagram followers knew, and I didn't know what was going on. I was going to every doctor, every head of rheumatology, like dermatology. And I was having these allergic reactions. No one could figure out what was going on, and they said that they would, we would follow it on the show. We filmed a lot going to doctors, doing all my chelation therapies. And, I wasn't looking or feeling my best. And that affected me a lot, and it affected me very deeply. And it also affected a lot of my decisions. And, through that experience, that's why I kind of learned to, life is too short to be spending it with people that you don't really vibe with or people you don't really like. And it's kind of a snowball effect. Like,
Yeah, of course.
There's a method to my madness. There's a reason why I maybe don't want to hang out with certain people. And it all kind of plays a part. There's a bigger puzzle. And, and I did a reason that I decided to do the show was they said, we're going to follow your health journey. And I thought that, it's a great platform for me to come out and like show people that talk about it and, to help other people that may be struggling with the same issues. And, I just think that maybe at the end of the day, maybe it was deemed too boring. It wasn't blingy enough, or maybe no one wants to see Dorothy Wang struggle. They just want to see me sassy and blingy, whatever. But, that to me was very upsetting and unfortunate that it didn't make it on, because it was something that I just wanted to show that no matter how wealthy you are, everyone
health issues are health issues, especially when you can't pinpoint it. That's scary. Yeah, exactly.
And I was searching for my cure, and I was like going through different routes, and and I wanted to help people who also felt that maybe they were failed by traditional Western medicine to find different cures, and I just felt like it was kind of disappointing that opportunity was missed. And so I do wish that, that was shown. And also, like I said, it affected a lot of my decisions. And it also affected why I maybe I didn't really have a lot of patience for a lot of things, because I was dealing with something so much greater. Totally. And I'm like, why are you bothering me about going to a lunch? Like, I don't want to go to lunch.
Put it in perspective. I have to go exactly.
I got it. You know what I mean? It kind of changed my perspective on a lot of things. So I just wish that story was told.
Yeah. And it's interesting because it's like, there was this whole, the first several episodes of this season was about like, whether this one couple had this kind of secret like family basically, and then they sort of dropped out of the show and nobody talked about it for the rest of the season. And then we get the Kim and Kevin thing, which like didn't feel like super like realistic, I would say. So I kind of wish that we would have gotten some more of you and more of your journey, because I loved having you on the show.
I've been texting a lot.
Oh, have you?
Why is this? But hopefully, maybe in down the line they can, we can kind of loop back on it.
Totally. So I again, we said it before the call, like I wish that I'd seen more of you on the show, and obviously you moved to New York in the finale and you live there now, and there's speculation that there could be a spinoff that's centered around you. Hypothetically, what would you want to showcase about your life in New York if you were to have the cameras following you in New York?
Hypothetically speaking, my life in New York has been, in the beginning, it was really tough. The adjustment, like I told you, being an LA gal, there was a lot of change.
Yeah.
And for me, I feel like people don't really, I'm not as wild and as risky as people might think. And for me, I really wanted to move to New York and take that risk. Like I went to school at USC to be kind of close to my family. I never had my little Sex and the City moment where I just up and left and like was just kind of on my own.
Everyone has to have one. Exactly.
I feel like I missed my rite of passage, and kind of I wanted to be a little wilder. I wanted to kind of date more. I wanted to just I don't know, just be kind of out on my own, and kind of also, I was born and raised here, and I just feel like I wanted to not shed my image, but just kind of be somewhere where no one really knows me as much and kind of start fresh and almost have to make new connections and go somewhere where maybe not everyone knows me. Everything here got a little bit boring for me. I feel like everything was too easy. I wanted to like, it sounds crazy. I want to be able to, I want to like work for to be able to get a reservation somewhere, or have to like be in the kind of be a nobody and be, I don't know, have no one.
You can be anonymous. You can be anonymous in New York if you really
be a little bit more anonymous. Yes. Like, and start over and meet and date new guys and meet new people and just not have such a, not that I maybe sound a little cocky, not have such a reputation just because I was born and raised here,
of
and
course,
everyone on every street and every shop and they already know me. And so I was kind of yearning for that and just to start fresh and to meet new people. And, I got exactly that. And I have a great, fun, diverse group in New York. They're really fun and blinging and outgoing. And I'm honestly having the best time. It was hard at certain points, but I do feel like everyone in New York, like I said, the LA cast, maybe it's a little bit more contrived and calculated. I feel like in New York, everyone is more raw and to the point,
Yeah, 100%. And honestly,
talk about it.
It's not an easy city to live in all the time. And I think that if you can deal with some of those harder things and you just some of that daily pushback that you get from just living in New York, like it makes you a stronger person, I think, and it makes you a tougher person too.
Yeah. And so I think that that's really interesting. And I just know I'm having the best time there. And I think it was a great transition. And I just think that it's also just interesting. And I do think that, there are so many different types and dynamics of different Asian friend groups to tell and to show. And I think that obviously, there's a lot of cool, fierce Asians in New York too, that, that are very blingy and, have a lot of stories and a lot of fun to share.
Well, it sounds, I can't wait to hopefully hypothetically see that.
Was that a good pitch? I don't know.
That was a great pitch. Hello. If we're not picking that show up, then I don't know what we're picking up. Dorothy, I do have to ask, I know that, it wasn't your favorite moment on the show, but the Kane of it all felt like, I kind of wish that we gotten a little bit more of that, just because it felt like the lunch happened and then, there wasn't really any resolution for that whole situation. And, it was sped through, I think, and it seemed like he was somebody who was sort of taunting one of your friends online for a while. And then you guys just never gave him the time of day, and probably vice versa. Was there anything about that situation that you wish had made it into it? Or do you feel like it was represented pretty clearly?
I think that the feedback that I've been getting
focus group, hello,
from my focus group, is that the story is a little confusing. And I just feel like in real life, it is confusing also, because I feel like with Kane, for some reason, nothing ever really adds up. Like, even if you watch, he says like, oh, I've been friends with Dorothy for years. And then later he says like, I'm not friends with her. I don't know her. And then it just goes, I don't need to be friends with her. I don't know why I'm here, but like, I think we should be friends. I think we should go to lunch. He contradicts himself constantly. And just so the story with Kane is that like 10, 15 years ago, I would be at the Louboutin store with my friend Ezra, and he would come up to us and, oh, I just bought this. I bought this. Like, oh my God, we should go to lunch. And we would politely decline and say, no, it's okay. Like, we don't want to go to lunch. And it would happen over and over and over again. And for 15 years, politely declining. And it's fine. Like,
you have no obligation to get lunch with somebody who you don't really know. Exactly.
And then at a certain point, he just started being kind of nasty to my friend, and would be very competitive on Instagram and be like, oh, I have 10 pairs of Louboutins. How many do you have? Oh, I wear this better than you. And we just got kind of like nasty. And then he was competitive and would then purposely only invite me to lunch and say, let's go to lunch without your friend. And then one time, then he tried to get me, like I said on the show, like tried to get me like kicked out of the gym or something. So then so then what, when like a fan turns into foe kind of, and then he was kind of nasty with me. And then when I was on the show, he was asking the producers, when can I film with Dorothy? When can I film with Dorothy? And I already felt this type of way about him because of just like, he was just all over the place trying to get me kicked out of somewhere and then trying to go to lunch for so many years and just being rude to my friend. And he just seemed like someone that was not nice and just catty and all over the place and just not someone that I wanted in my life. And then on camera, he would say, Dorothy and I have been friends for years. We have all these mutual friends, and the mutual friends that he's citing are people that I'm, number one, not friends with, or number two, the person that he was mean to. So it
didn't add up. Right. Exactly. And I mean, like, I think that you had the line of the season when you said that he'd been trying to get lunch with you in 2011. Like, I just loved that line. And then when you finally had the lunch, he refused to own up for any of that behavior and then stormed out of the lunch, which felt, again, contradictory, I think, to what you were really saying.
So, and it just nothing really. And then he's saying, oh, I never wanted to go to lunch with you. I don't know her. But then before
he showed up unannounced to your lunch.
Then he's trying to say, oh, we used to be friends, but then now she's mean to me because she got famous. But like, you were the one that tried to get me kicked out of a gym. Like, it's just, nothing makes sense. Nothing adds up. He just makes stuff up as he goes, or I don't know if he doesn't remember, but I'm like, everyone who knows me knows that I'm like a very accurate person. I have like I remember everything. And I hold people accountable and it's fine. Like, I just don't need him in my life. And not everyone needs to be friends with everyone. And,
yes,
and the thing is that I've set my boundary for so many years and I politely declined. And the scenes that you see, it's been weeks of buildup of everyone saying, Kane says he says you guys are friends. Why don't you guys go to lunch? Kane says you're friends. He wants to go to lunch. Kane wants to film with you. All the producers saying Kane wants to film a scene with you. Kane says you're friends. I'm like, we're not friends. I don't know why he keeps saying this.
It's almost like you're being gaslit into believing that you were. Yeah.
Yes, it was weeks and weeks of these like little fibs and lies so what you're seeing is like the breaking point.
Yeah, which makes sense. I think anybody in your position probably would have felt that way. So anyway, it felt like we weren't getting the full situation, but I'm understanding it a little bit more now.
It's a lot of the same thing. Like, you get the gist. It's just a lot of like,
over the years, for sure. So I wanted to end it with just going through, you have a lot of friends in your life who you've known for a long time who are recognizable for other things as well. So I just wanted to go through some of those people and just tell me either how you became friends with them or just a fun memory that you have with that person. The first is Nikki Hilton, who lives in New York as well. So I'm sure you've been seeing her. How did you guys become friends?
We met so one of my best friends from USC is Farah, and that is her cousin. So I met Nikki in Paris at Farah's 21st birthday in Vegas. Yeah.
Morgan Stewart, a fan fave, somebody I've interviewed many times. Morgan.
Yeah. Morgan and I met, like, I don't know, we met probably 10, 15 years ago, just going out and about in LA. And she's always just been fun, hilarious, in your face. She's always just been that girl with a big personality and the most amazing style. It's actually her birthday this weekend, so we're all going to her birthday party.
Amazing. And she has a family now, which I'm so happy for. That's amazing.
I have met Ro, but I haven't met Gray yet.
So maybe this weekend.
I think I'm going to go over maybe sometime this week for a little
Good. Oh, so fun. EJ Johnson, another former co-star.
EJ Johnson, I met him at Bootsy Bellows in LA through my friend Ezra.
Love it. And then finish it off. Who's somebody that people know of, that people love, that you're friends with, that we might not know about, that be familiar with your friendship with them? Like somebody that because you've been living in LA for so long, you must have.
I actually have a lot of secret pocket friends that I feel like people like are always surprised that I'm
like who's one of those?
Like, I'm like cool, like Lil Kim.
Interesting. I love that.
Yeah. Who else? Little Kim. Who else am I? All the house, like Heather Dubrow, Lisa Rinna.
Amazing.
Kyle texts me. Crystal, like I'm cool with all the housewives, actually. A lot of housewives. I'm trying to think. I
just interviewed Crystal last week. She's great. I love her.
Really?
Yeah.
A lot of rappers, Ja Rules, like a lot of rappers. like, just everyone.
Dorothy, I swear, one day you're gonna have to write the memoir. You're gonna have to write the memoir and just recount
my
all
friend
this.
actually texted me this earlier and was like, "When are you dropping the tell-all?" I was like, "Maybe later."
Hey, you've lived a glamorous, colorful life, and I can't wait to see what's next for you. I mean, it sounds like New York is really treating you well, and again, hypothetically speaking, I really hope that we get to see some of that at some point.
Hypothetically speaking.
Yes, yeah, that'd be great. Well, Dorothy, again, it's so great to have you back on our TVs, and everyone go binge season 2 of Bling Empire now. Thanks so much, Dorothy.
Nice chatting with you.
Thanks for tuning in to We Should Talk. I hope you enjoyed the interview. You can find out more about In the Know at intheknow.com. You can follow me, Gibson Johns, at Gibsonoma on Twitter and Instagram. And you can listen to all of our interviews, past and future, by searching We Should Talk wherever you get your podcasts. Hope to see you next time.